station weather. Mostly sunny this week with highs in the low to mid 90s. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 60s. Summer is still kind of hanging around. For everything SCV related, go to hometownstation.com or check us out on social media. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at KHTS Radio.
Good afternoon, Santa Clarita. This is Jesus Henao of Lil Commercial, and welcome to the Commercial Hour. Be in the know your city. If you're thinking about owning, selling apartments, an industrial property, or shopping center, you're in the right place. We talk commercial real estate. Live the American dream. Put on your jersey, sweatband, and get in the game. We are here every Monday from 12 to 1 on KHTS AM 1220, 98.1. All righty. We're back from a weekend that was very sad for both Trojan and Bruin fans. Start off with sports, but hopefully these guys will get it together. So today on the docket we have a call-in today. A gentleman, he's a developer in the area, Norris Whitmore. But before we get to him when he calls in, just wanted to, this morning I hear this all the time. I hear, look, it's so costly to do business in Santa Clarita or just LA in general. So I decided to just focus in on Santa Clarita, and I went on their website. I made a phone call, and I have to be truthful. I called in and said I was a student looking to get some understanding of how the city fees work, and I did that because I know I can get more information out of the person. They're going to be straight with me. So first I called planning, and I don't remember who I spoke to, but they said to go online and look at there's a planning division fees. So I have the fee schedule here, and it changes every year from my understanding. And so this fee schedule is from September 12, 2018 from the planning division. And there's a lot of numbers here. It's 2 pages, and so there's a lot of numbers here, and it looks like it'd be pretty costly. So what I did was I said, well, let me do a hypothetical and see what it looks like. So I put together a hypothetical, and we're going to go through it today just to see. And I have Cody in studio here with me. And I'm going to run what it would cost, this hypothetical situation. And I did call in when I said planning. I said, hey, look, I'm doing this for a school. I'm doing a hypothetical. I just want to see what the fees are, what it costs to build. So here's what I told them. I said, look, I found a piece of land. It's zoned R3, which means residential. And with an R3 zoning, I can build apartment units. If it was R1, single-family residence. So it's R3, and I said, okay, I'm going to build 20 units, and let's see what it costs. So I did some quick numbers to see what it would cost to build. So to give you an idea what the cost of construction is, it's about $275,000 to about $300,000 per square foot, dollars. Okay, so I did these numbers. And I'm using 1,000 square foot units. So they could be 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms, just in general. And so I did the math. And to build a 20 units, 1,000 square feet or 20,000 square feet, it's going to cost $5,500,000 just on the construction cost. Okay? That sound like a lot of money, Cody?
A little bit, more than I thought.
So, and one thing also, that's just to build, by the way. That's just the construction. We're just what it's going to cost to hire the people to build this thing. But we haven't talked about, there's another piece that's missing in here. And, it just came to mind, and I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to add on top of my total cost. So, the cost of the land. So, this is assuming that I have the land. So, I'm just going to say, let's add $1 million for the land. Okay, so it's a nice property, choice area. Nice place in Newhall. So we're going to build some units. So here's what we got. So before you get started, and this is good for anybody that's thinking about development or, in real estate, and that's what the show is. I want to educate people to give them an idea what it costs. So I'm going to use my schedule here from the city. And let's start off. We're going to start off. So I've made some general plans. I hired an architect. They're going to make some drawings for me by hand. They're going to give me some general numbers, and then I'm going to submit it to the city. Now, the city has something cool. It's called a one-stop. And what a one-stop is, I send some basic information, maybe some small renderings, etc., some analysis of what I want to build, and I submit it to the city. And the city says, okay, we'll get back to you. I think it's 3 to 4 weeks, a month to get the information back. And I say, hey, look, this is my land. This is my parcel. This is my idea. I want to build these apartment units here. And they take it in. They look at it internally. They go through their planning committee. They look at it, and they come back about a month later, and they say, okay, we like your plan. I think it'll be good for the community. We'll approve it based on, and then they give me a bunch of reasons. Boom, this got to have this, it's got to have this, got to have that, and they pretty detailed. So at that point, I spend about $1,300 or $1,400. It's $1,389 the fee, and then I know I can make a decision now. Hey, is this going to be viable? Is the city going to approve it or not? So I get the comments back, and let's say I like it. It's not too bad. We're going to build. So first thing that I do, I go to my architect. We do the plans, and a lot of people. Oh, wait, Norris came in. Perfect. No headphones, but we can hear him, right? All right, perfect. Norris, hold on. We got Norris Whitmore on the line. He's on the line, and we'll talk a little bit about development. And he called it the right time because we are about to talk about these fees, and I'm going to go over it, and then we'll get his input. All right, Norris, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. He called at the right time. I'm just going over fees. Norris, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do in the area.
General contractor. I specialize in custom homes. Been building in the valley for almost 40 years, and born and raised here. I've seen it come from the days that the county was involved in fees, from minimal fees. Building permits basically is all you had back in the early 80s. And then the city got involved. It went from there to the fees we have today.
Fantastic. And before you called in, I was just talking about, I'm giving a hypothetical, and we're building a 20-unit apartment building. I'm using about $275 a square foot to build it. I'm assuming that I'm building about 20,000 square feet. So I did the quick math, and I came out with, just to build construction-wise, about $5,500,000. Does that sound about right? $275 a square foot for an apartment building?
Is that might be a little high just for the building.
Okay.
Unless that's including your land cost.
No, I didn't include the land cost, but okay, perfect. So I'm in the ballpark. What do you think? About $250 a square foot, maybe a little bit less?
Yeah, maybe a little less.
Okay.
Depending on what you build. Just depends on what you're building.
All right, we're going to build something nice because Santa Clarita deserves the best. So we're going to go all out. We're going crown molding. We're doing everything, marble, you name it. Okay. So
right.
I just talked about the first step is to do a one-stop. It's about $1,389 for the one-stop fee. About a month for them to get back to me and tell me, hey, we like it, but you have these conditions. All right. Am I correct in assuming that? Is that about what it takes? About a month to get the info back from planning?
Yeah, that fee is refundable if you move forward on the project.
Perfect.
So that fee is not bad, because you want to have a quick look. But when they come back with their conditions, it looks like a little booklet of what you got to do. So it's not an easy process.
Perfect. Now I'm going to run down some quick fees and say we looked at the plan. We looked at the comments back. Hey, it's something we can do, and we're going to move forward. We're going to hire the architect. He's going to do the plans, and we're moving forward. So I'm just going to go. First of all, I'm going to talk about the planning fees, and I have the numbers here. I pulled it from the City of Santa Clarita Planning Division fees, and this is effective September 12th, 2018. So this is very, very current. And here's what they come up with. So on the EIR, the Environmental Impact Report, it says here $43,417 or 10% of the contract value. But this is the kicker here. I love this. It says whichever is higher. So
yeah,
I did the math at 10% of $5.5 billion. I come up with $550,000 just on the EIR report. Then there's initial study fee. $2,470. I have to get a conditional use permit, $6,795. Architectural design review, $11.50. Landscape plan and check inspection, $9.82. Hillside development review, $3,268. A sign review if I want to do a nice sign, $9.87. So before we even get into this bad boy, I'm at $567,041 in planning fees, which comes out to about $28,352 per unit. Does that sound about right?
Well, you forgot the bridge and thoroughfare fee of between $17,000 to $20,000 per door, and you forgot your school fees of about $6 a square foot.
Oh my
and
gosh.
you forgot your building department fees. So if you can build that building, the fees for that building are going to cost round numbers of $50,000 a door, 50 grand per door times 20 units. What's that? $1 million.
$1 million before I even put a shovel into the dirt, huh?
That's only a 20-unit building too. That's a little building.
Yeah, and I didn't. That's right. I wrote that down, but I forgot to calculate it in these fees. But then there's also some other fees. There's a building and safety fees.
Yeah, the fire department fee, library fee, Quimby fee, which is park and recs, $10,000 a door. It just goes on and on. I've calculated to build a 100-unit apartment building in Santa Clarita, the fees alone are $5 million. You write a check to the city before you start building. $5 million.
Wow.
What it does is it makes the land worth zero. You can't pay the guy for the land that owns it because the city fees are too high. So that's why apartment buildings aren't being built in Santa Clarita. And if they are, it's because a developer had enough land to give land to a park, to a school, and build his roads to offset all the other fees.
Wow. Now let me ask.
The little guy's done. The little guy has no place to go in residential in Santa Clarita because the fees are killing everything. I've had single-family homes, custom homes. The fees are $100,000 for one house.
Unbelievable.
$100,000. Homeowners go crazy over this stuff when they see these numbers because they're not getting anything for their money, right? Especially when it's an infill lot in the middle of Happy Valley, when all the infrastructure's in, and all of a sudden your fees are $100,000 because you want to build a little house there. Not even to speak of what your property taxes go to when you're done building it. It's outrageous.
Well, so let's talk about that. So you're talking about that $100,000 is added to the value of the house. So let's say, I don't know, we build a house is $700,000 to build it and out the door. You have to add the other $100,000 just for those fees. It makes the value what now? $800,000, correct?
Yeah, your cost. Yeah, and you're probably a little more than that. That's on $1 million project plus $100,000 in fees. You're in it for $1.1 million. And your land cost is $500,000, and now you're in for $1.6 million for a 5,000 square foot house, maybe 4,000 square foot house, and it's only worth 1.2. So you've just lost $300,000 in your endeavor to make a living.
Wow, and the property taxes that are going to kill. The property tax is going to be what, about $15,000 a year, $16,000 easily, I would assume.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, you have 1.25%, right?
Yeah, 1.25%. That's correct. Unbelievable. So let me ask you this though. But I see I had developers on. They've like I give you an example. A Needham Ranch project. It's a big industrial project going on over there off the 14 freeway. How do those guys do it? How do they make their money there?
Well,
is it because it's easier to construct because it's concrete tilt up and it doesn't cost as much to build per square foot?
I believe they're getting a break on the fees because they're building a community, right? So they're getting a break on the B&T fees, bridge and thoroughfare fees, probably goes away. They probably have to contribute something to the parks, or maybe not because it's industrial. There might not be a park fee, so they don't have that fee. school fees, I think, are minimal, if not anything, because it's industrial.
I think it's like I've been reading the budget on the school district, and I think it's like $2.74 a square foot on fees for the school. I might be wrong.
Right.
I have
So
to look at that.
Yeah. So that's not a deal breaker, right?
No, it's not too bad.
The bridge and thoroughfare fees, they don't pay that. I think I said because they're building all the roads for the whole project. So they get a break on this stuff. That's why I'm saying the big developers, they get breaks on the fees because of building communities. But the little guy that just wants to buy a lot in town and build a project of, just an infill project, he's the guy getting beat up. Very hard for him to make a living doing what he's doing.
Wow. So how do we turn this around in Santa Clarita? I mean, they bill themselves as the friendly city to come and do business. I hear that many times.
So I can go over the hill and I can pay, if it's $100,000 to build in Santa Clarita for building permits and fees, it's $30,000 over the hill.
You're kidding me. That's how big the discrepancy is? 70,000?
Yeah.
How do we get here? How do we get to this point?
Well, it has to all go back to city council. They all make the budgets, right? They approve the budgets that the planning commission and all those guys, the planning department, they all come up with. And without, I think without a lot of knowledge of what they're doing to the industry, they just continue to raise prices of fees. You just can't. I had a project, 60 unit senior project. The park and rec fees, they wanted $1 million for a park and rec fees for a senior project. Oh, let me tell you something. The seniors aren't going to the parks, okay? And that kills the deal by giving the parks $1 million. That fee is given to them up front before you start construction.
Unbelievable.
They throw these numbers around like it's not real money. This is real money to people out there that are working for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we would even talk about, I was just looking at the fees on building and safety fees. There's plan check, and then there's a kicker there. They charge you a flat fee, but then if you go over in this project that I did, it was $1 million. There's a $7.35 on top of the $8 million if you're over $1 million. And I did all there's a plan check fee, building permit fees, electrical permit fees, and they all have these extra kickers. And I did just the math on it on this small sample, and I came up with about another $78,000 and about another $4,000 per unit on top of the $50,000 we're talking about. So it's actually closer to $55,000 a unit before you even put a shovel in the dirt.
And how do you make that work? How high would your rents have to be to just break even?
Well, that's what
you could never do it.
Yeah, I looked at the total cost, and I'm off by $1 million, but let me go back to my original number here of $6,760,000. So let's say 6.8 to build this thing, and like I said, I'm off $1 million. It comes out to almost $338 a unit to build this. $338.
Yeah, right. And that's for what, a 2-bedroom unit?
No, that's I would say a mix between ones and twos for a 20-unit apartment building, 1,000 square feet units, so it can go either way. That's what it's going to cost.
So what are you getting? $1,800 to $2,200 a month rent?
No, let me give you in Santa Clarita what the rents are. This is my specialty. A 1-bedroom in Santa Clarita, let's say you're in Stevenson's Ranch, is going to cost you probably $1,500 to $1,600 a month for a 1-bedroom, and that's probably 950 square feet. For a 2-bedroom, you're going to be at easily $2,500 a month.
Yeah.
Easily.
So even with those high rents, can you break even?
It's going to be tough to break even. I'll do some.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. What's the point?
Exactly.
Now, if the city of Santa Clarita wants no growth, then let's put a moratorium on growth, not make it drive the fees up so high so they can continue to build up their coffers of money. Right? I don't know where this money's going.
Didn't they just say that? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but didn't they just say I think the budget, we had a surplus? We've had a budget surplus here in Santa Clarita. Is that correct?
I think so. I can't say for sure, but I'm guessing they have a lot more money than they spend. I thought government was supposed to be like a nonprofit deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well,
wasn't it just supposed to cover their costs so it can help the community and the people?
That's right. And those are good points because we're coming up to an election. I think everybody should take a look at who they're going to vote for. They have to take a look at what the record is, what they're doing, how long have they been there, why are they there, what experience they have. Because sometimes, I'm new to politics here, and I think sometimes the people that are sitting there have no idea. I mean, what we just covered, I guarantee you, they've never looked at this. I guarantee you they never sat down and said, let me analyze this. Because in theory they say, the developer has plenty of money. $40,000 for an EIR is fine. What did I say it is? EIR, $550,000 is plenty. It's good enough for the EIR. But they don't know what it means. I don't think they've ever developed. I don't think any developers on the board. I don't know. But I don't think they have a working knowledge of this. And that really hampers development here. And, by the way, you said it. You hit it on the nose. We talked about this a couple of shows ago about rents being so high and rent control. Luckily, we don't have rent control here. But the reason why those rents are so high, $2,500 for a two-bedroom apartment, is because there's not enough apartments. There's not enough competition.
Yeah, and we need more. Right, we need more. And the rates aren't going to go down because the fees are too high. I mean, the fees are, on some of these projects, the fees can be 25% of the project, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Once again, we have Norris Whitmore here on the line, a developer here in Santa Clarita. I've done some wonderful homes, and we're going to take a break, and we'll continue this. I'd like to thank Norris for coming on and talking to us a little bit about this and actually shedding the light on what it costs to develop. And, appreciate it. I know you're busy. You have some meetings to go to. Thank you for calling in, and we'll continue the discussion after the break. Thank you very much, Norris.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, buddy. See ya.
Bye.
And now a cooking tip from Keith Mowry from Bob's Country Meats. For a change of pace, think about cooking a leg of lamb.
Leg of lamb, great, boneless. Marinate them in a garlic marinade. Let those roast in the oven for about 25 minutes per pound at 350 degrees.
Lamb, chicken, tri-tip, pork chops, turkey, steaks, even exotic game like buffalo and ostrich. For the tastiest lamb in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
I've always been driven to serve our country and our community.
Congressman Steve Knight.
I served in the United States Army and spent 18 years as an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department. I ran for Congress because too often I saw people forgotten by Washington. The crisis at the VA exemplified a bureaucracy that was out of touch and hurting real people. As your congressman, I'm committed to making our government in Washington work better for you.
My name is David Brayton. I am an Air Force veteran. 10 years ago, my doctors told me that I had to have a double lung transplant. It was a massive uphill battle to get the VA to do what they said they were going to do in the first place. Finally, Steve Knight got involved, and if it wasn't for Steve Knight's assistance in this thing, I guarantee you I'd be dead. Steve Knight is a veteran, and he's LAPD on top of it. I'm voting for Steve Knight because he gets stuff done for us.
I'm Steve Knight, and I approve this message.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Santa Clarita's hometown station. Hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
Welcome back. This is the Commercial Hour. This is Jesus Henao with Loyola Commercial. We're talking development here in Santa Clarita and the costs associated with doing business here. If you're a developer out there and want to call in and talk a little bit about this, we will love to take your call. The number here is 661-298-5487. Once again, 661-298-5487. And we're just going to wrap up a little bit about these fees. And I have Cody in. And when we went to the break, we were talking about that, about, the development out here. And we talked about the Five Knolls project, the 21,000 homes going off in the 126. And we talked about that, and how that project has been going on for...
Feels like my whole life. I feel like I've been hearing my whole life that all these homes are going to be here, but I haven't seen any of them yet.
And you were saying they said they were going to build a road where you're going to West Ranch.
West Ranch, yeah. They have the 3 schools, and there's a big hill. It just dead ends. So everyone's got to go up the hill and then down it. And they kept saying they're going to finish the road, they're going to expand it, it's going to help traffic, and still waiting. Still waiting.
So, yeah, that's strange. Why that's not being built, I have no idea. But very interesting. So it looks like it's very expensive to do business here. I don't think anybody's really talked about that, but like I said, as you go to the polls November 6th, and I recommend interviewing the candidates, talk to them, ask them these questions. Do we want more? Well, number one, do we want more homes out here? I mean, you just drive around in Santa Clarita, and they're building everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of single-family homes, but not everybody can afford those single-family homes. They're easily are going to be $700,000 on the low end to $1 million plus for these homes. That's a lot of tax revenue. That's a lot of fees the city's collecting. There's a lot of money being made, and where's that money going to? We do have a surplus, and I have to admit, the reason why I moved to Santa Clarita is it's a beautiful town. I mean, it is beautiful. Go over the hill to San Fernando Valley, and it looks totally different. So the money is being well spent, but I mean, how much can we spend is the question. So anyways, moving on with the program, I want to talk about a real life deal. That I put in escrow and I closed. And just to give you an idea, I want to give you a little perspective on the background, how deals are done and what's going on. So a couple of months ago, before I went to Peru, a client called me and he said, "Hey, Zeus, I have this apartment building. It's a senior building. It's in Southgate. We want to sell it. Tell us what it's worth. And we want to sell it. We have a partnership. We want to break up the partnership and move on." So I said, no problem. They sent me the typical things that I need, which is a rent roll, profit and loss. And once I analyzed the building, it was a unique property because it's 22 units. And we're going to talk about what it costs to build, right now, today, and what we're selling this building for. And it's going to be an eye-opener. So I do the analysis. I come up with a price, about $3.5 million. The client says, well, we just can't trust Jesus. I'm sorry, that just came to my mind. I had to say that. We just can't trust Jesus on this. We have to get another opinion. So another large firm came in and they gave an opinion, and we were pretty much close on the pricing, right? So in my mind, I play to win. I always play to win in this game. So I said, okay, I know these guys want to sell. We did the evaluation. They're looking at other agents. And I said, well, I know exactly who will buy this property. I've just been doing it for so long. I have clients that will buy this product. So the interesting thing about this, and if you follow Cody, we're going to talk cap rates. This is an extremely high cap rate. It's low cap rate. It's a 1.17 cap rate. Nothing is selling at a 1.17 cap rate, only if you're in Beverly Hills, the West Side, Santa Monica. This is an extremely low cap rate. But you look at that number and it's sort of misleading, because why in Southgate? Southgate is not Beverly Hills. Why is it selling so low? Well, the story behind this is the two partners that own this property. There's a couple of partners. The partners have different ideas how to run the building. The person that's running the building in this property, he's purposely kept the rents very low. And you heard me just talk earlier today about what the rents are in Santa Clarita. So for a one-bedroom in Santa Clarita, about $1,500, and I said for a two-bedroom, about $2,500. This building is renting a one-bedroom, about 750 square feet, for $709. That is very low rent. They have some studios in the building, and they're renting them for $600. Very low rent. I mean, I would rent that all day, no problem. So the building, the cap rate is low because the rents are low. If the cap rate was higher, it's because the rents are higher. So this particular building is built in 1985, so no rent control, which means the buyer that buys this can go in, give a 30-day notice, and take those rents from one bedrooms from $700 all the way to $1,500. He can double his income, and he can probably do the same with the singles, which from $600 to maybe $1,000 or $1,100, depending on what they do to the units. So there's a lot of upside potential. So this property does not make sense if I were to put a loan on it. It's actually, I did the numbers. It was like negative 17%. I had to kick out $100,000 a month if I bought this property. So I'm losing $100,000 a month on this building. So it's a losing proposition. So who would pay the $3.5 million? Well, I have a lot of clients, and I found a client that paid the full price of the building, $3.5 million. The trick was, it's an all-cash buy because there's no loan to be put on here, because no bank is going to finance this at a negative $100,000 a year. There's no way. $10,000 a month, he's losing money. No way they're going to finance that. So it's a particular buyer to buy this building, and I have these type of clients in my database and people I've done with business in the past. As a matter of fact, this owner, I sold him a building up in Modesto, a 60 unit senior building, and so I have a good working relationship with him. And so let's talk a little bit about this project. So let me tell you how I made the deal happen, because I want to explain how these deals unfold. So here I am competing with another broker. The sellers hadn't made a decision who they wanted to go to. But I don't wait around for things to happen. We talked about the winning attitude. We talked about how Michael Jordan was so successful, Kobe Bryant, those guys. They don't wait around to be told what to do. They have killer instincts and they go. And I think I have the same. So I called my guy. I showed him the building. He says, I love it. I want it. We wrote an offer. We went first round at $3 million, and the seller said, no, we're not going to sell it that. This is while they're still trying to make their decision. Well, they made their decision to go with the other broker, by the way. So I had already been talking to my guy, a couple of guys. And so I called my buyer and said, hey, it's not going to happen at $3 million. You want this coming at $3.5 million. We came in at $3.5 million. We submitted the offer, even when they were going to go with the other broker. And they said, hey, Zeus, we don't need to go any further. You got us what we want. I went under contract on the property about 2 weeks ago. We walked the building last week. We toured it with the buyer. And again, not leaving things a chance, I brought what's called a contingency removal, which means he approves the whole building, everything. And he's going to close escrow in 30 days, all cash. There's nothing else to deal with. This is a done deal. So I brought the paper with me, and I told my buyer, hey, you want this? He's like, yeah. What's it going to take? He wanted a small credit of $25,000. I said, no problem. We wrote it in. We're non-contingent. He signed off on it. Buyers agreed. The sellers agreed. Done deal. We're just waiting to close now. We've got about 20 more days, and we're done with the escrow closes. So that's how a transaction goes sometimes. Again, I don't leave things a chance. I believe that I'm good at what I do, and I'm going to get what my seller wants and get what my buyer wants, and I put it together that fast. All right. That's not the fastest deal I did, though. The fastest deal I ever did was 1 week. I sold an El Pollo Loco in Lake Forest. Buyer calls me and says, hey, Zeus, I need to buy by this week. I can't go or I'm going to pay taxes. I need to get something. I said, don't worry about it. Showed an El Pollo Loco that was in Lake Forest. Sent her the info. Put her money in escrow, and within 5 days, we closed escrow. The fastest deal I ever did in Lake Forest. It's over there in Orange County. So I haven't beat that deal yet, though. That's my fastest 5 days. So great. And that was at the beginning of my career. I say maybe 3 or 4 years into the business that I did that. I was happy about that one. So let's talk about a little bit compare and contrast from a building that's already built in 1985 to this hypothetical building we're talking about. I came up with, at the end of the day, which I'm low according to Norris. I came up with, to build 20 units, it's going to cost me $338,000 per unit, which is low. It could be even, I would say, if we had another $100,000, $438 per unit. Okay. Once again, this is Jesus Henao. You're listening to the Commercial Hour here on KHTS 1220 FM 98.1, and we're talking commercial real estate. All right. So this new building, built in 2019, is going to cost me $440,000 per unit. I sold this building, which is 22 units, for $159,000 a unit. Now, Cody, what do you think about that?
Well, also, I was thinking the rents are much lower there too, right? So, I mean, I don't know how you can even make the numbers match up, where one, you'd have to be charging how much more in rent to make up that difference?
Well, remember, I just want you to look at the price. So, to build my new building is going to cost me a lot more. It's going to cost me, what, $300,000 more to build it? In this building, I'm buying it as is. I'm not paying all the city fees. I'm not paying any of those things. And I'm getting a fairly new building, 1985. Okay, maybe I have to fix the roof, some ACs, do some paint maybe. But the building was in fantastic condition. It's a very nice building. And I'm only paying $159,000 a unit. So if you're a guy looking to make a deal, what would you go with, the new building or this one?
Oh, I definitely buy an old one. So I'm wondering, at what point do those fees start driving up the prices of older buildings, because there's just so much that you'd have to go in to fees to build a new one that it kind of raises the value of ones that don't have those fees.
Perfect. Now check this out. Even if I raise the rent, and say I'm at market rent with the rents, so I'm going to double my income, but if I were to put it back on the market, I could think I might be able to get maybe $1.5 million to $2 million more. If I had the $1.5 to $2 million more, so I sell for $5 million, my cost per unit is going to be, let me do the numbers. So we're going to say, I'm going to sell for $5 million. $5 million bucks, 22 units, $227,000 per unit versus $400,000. So where am I now? Even if I raise the rents, I'm still better off buying the older building than building a new one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what is it? Basically, you could afford to pay 3 times what the old building's worth and still get out cheaper than building a whole new one.
Yeah. And remember, Norris says something very good. He said, and you said it earlier too, what is my return on investment? How am I going to make money here? And if you build a new building, you can't. And he said something very interesting. He said, the big guys are the ones doing it. Why the big guys? Because they have the deep pockets. Maybe it's not a private guy, a small guy like me or you building or Norris building it. It's a real estate trust or a development, big people that are pulling all their money together and they're building. They have the deep pockets, right? And they operate under a different set of numbers. So they can spend that type of money, but over here we can't. The little guy can't. So, we hear about they're not building enough apartments. There's not enough construction. There's not enough housing to house everybody. The rents are too high. Why is it? I think it all comes back down to the fees a city charges to build.
Well, also, how much, I doubt we have in front of us, but how much do fees like that increase over, 5-10 years, I wonder?
I don't know how much. I didn't look at that, but I know that the older fees are online. I could look at that. But let's say they increase 5%, 10%.
But it's just a ticking clock, where every year you don't build, it's just going to cost you 5% more for the next year, and that can't be very encouraging for a lot of developers.
So it goes back to again, I hate to say it goes back to the politics of the day. You have two extremes here. You have one extreme saying, there's not enough housing, the rent is too high, we need more affordable housing. So how do they build affordable housing? Well, where do they get the money? Where do you think?
Those fees, those help at all? Those millions of dollars in fees?
And your taxes. So they give the people that are building affordable housing, they give them what's called tax credits, and they give them property tax abatement, meaning they're not going to pay the property tax. So they're trying to lower that cost, but they're not building it fast enough. Okay, there's no way we can accommodate so many. Now now you're counting on government to do things. And if you're counting on government, go to DMV and tell me how it goes. I went to pick up my license plates, and I had an appointment, arrived on time, and I was still there an hour. For me to hand them my old plates and for them to hand me my new plates. It was an hour waiting there with no AC in the building. Okay? So if you want government to do it, it's going to take a long time. Then you have the developer that He needs to get things out quick because time is money. He wants to build it. He wants to build it good, get it built, people moved in, and start getting a return on his money. He can't do it. Why? Because it's going to cost him an arm and a leg to build. So you've already disincentivized the guy. Okay? And some things, I have a little knowledge in this because my wife's an architect and I've sold land before. One of the incentives the city does, or I'm not sure, I think LA does it, but one of the cities it does, they call it bonus units. Then it's called a density bonus. What a density bonus does is it lets you build more units. So as of right, I can build 20 units, but they say, hey, well, look, we'll give you a bonus density so you can build another 5-7 units. But here's the kicker. Those units have to be affordable. So you have to spend the money, but you'll never recuperate your money on those units because those units are affordable. So I have to rent those units for the $600, $700, but I can never recuperate that money because the rent's low. It's a wash. So that's how they sort of incentivize you to do it. So the developer that wants to get the units out quick, not going to happen. The fees are too high, and you disincentivize them. I'm not going to build. I'll go build industrial. I'll go to another state and build there, try my luck there, because the fees are too high. So here we go. Again, the two extremes. You have government wanting to build more, but they say they want to build more, but the things that they do are not incentivizing to the developer because it's so high. And again, what does that do? Because there's not enough competition, the rents go up. But if there was a lot of units, they would push the rents down because then there's competition. Now you're fighting, oh, shoot, I better put in the nice hardwood floor. I better put in the granite countertops. And I better my neighbor here is charging, $2,000 for a two-bedroom apartment. I better bring it down because my units are going to be filled. So see how that brings down the pricing, and more units, more product brings down the price. So that's the school of thought here on development, and how this building that I sold, and when I close the escrow, I'll come on and let everybody know that I closed it. But these are two buildings. These are the two extremes. What's going on today? And when you go to the booth to poll November 6th, take that into account. Take a look at it and see what are we doing here, or what do you want for your city? Maybe the residents here don't want to build more. Maybe they don't want more homes. Maybe they don't want any more traffic. Maybe that's the case. The fees are high. I don't know. I'd have to have somebody from city planning or somebody from city council come and talk about that. I think that would be a good idea. So once again, this is Jesus Henao. This is the commercial hour, Loyola Commercial. We're here every Monday from 12 to 1, and we're talking development today. We're talking apartment building sales, apartment building development, and we're going to take a break. Thank you for listening.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, STV.
There's an important meeting you need to hold away from the office. The in-laws are coming to town.
Uh-oh.
A major client is visiting Santa Clarita. Your husband's brother is about to visit.
Oh! And his 4 kids?
La Quinta knows life in Santa Clarita can be stressful, so your guests can wake up on the bright side. Meetings can run smoothly, and even your mother-in-law will squeeze out a compliment. La Quinta Inn and Suites, on the old road, just south of Lyons. Call about their special Santa Clarita discounts, 286-1111.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association is hosting our annual gala, The Art Classic, Saturday, September 29th from 1:30 to 5 p.m. This fundraiser highlights professionally judged original artwork by local artists in all mediums. For only $25, you can enjoy live music, wine, hors d'oeuvres, and meet the artists in person. The Art Classic will be held at Hart Hall in Hart Park. All artwork will be on display for free public viewing Sunday, September 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit us at santaclaritaartists.org.
Time for a car wash, but fearful of the scratches that go along with it? Canny Car Wash and Valencia Car Wash proudly use 100% lamb's cloth to prevent scratches and provide the best wash possible. Both locations use environmentally friendly solutions to wash and wax your vehicle, and they both accept all other car wash coupons. Give your vehicle the wash it deserves. Visit Canyon Car Wash on Soledad across from Edwards Cinema, or Valencia Car Wash on Creekside Road behind Target.
Your hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
We are back. Once again, you're listening to The Commercial Hour. This is Jesus Henao from Loyola Commercial. I sell apartment building shopping centers in the area. If you want to talk about real estate, give me a call if you're looking to sell or you want advice on your property, your office building, shopping center, etc. We're here to help. So during the break, Cody and I were talking a little bit about some of the craziness that happens. And there's one thing that we didn't talk about, and that is we've now, let's say I'm moving forward. I don't care. I want my apartment building. I'm going to spend the money. It makes sense somehow, and we're going to build. So we go through the whole plan check, building and safety. We pay all the fees. We're out of the money. Perfect. Everything's looking good. And then somebody sues us. What happens then? Why would they sue? The best example I can give you is the deal I just closed in Stevenson Ranch. Stevenson Ranch. I always say that, Stevenson. It's Stevenson Ranch. And that's the 240 acres right next to Southern Oaks, between Southern Oaks and Mentryville. I sold 240 acres there this year, and they're going to build 102 homes there. So everything looks good. We go through the city, the EIR process. Everything looks good. We're doing perfect. And then there's 30 days for somebody to contest. What happens? Somebody contests. They come back and they sued the developer. Why do they sue him? For the spadefoot frog. I've never seen a spadefoot frog. I didn't even know a spadefoot frog ever existed. And I think there was something before, a couple of years back, where somebody was up on an oak tree. They climbed up the oak tree.
In that same area, right? Right over there by Mentryville. So. Yeah, there was I don't remember a ton. I was very little. But I remember we drove by and saw the guy in the tree. He was living in the tree to protect it. I remember that.
So, in this case, the guy sued the developer. We were in litigation for 6 to 8 months. So think about this. I've spent... just in fees, $1 million in fees, and my $1 million is just sitting there. I'm not collecting interest. It's money spent, gone. I can't make that money back. It's out of my pocket, into the city and everywhere else. And it's sitting there, and somebody sues me for a fraud. So, which means the project is now delayed 6 to 7 months. We go to court, and, this was the crazy thing about it. He sues. And the judge tells them, well, the environmental impact report, which is done by like the cream of the crop people from the state, they do these all the time, and they say there's no spadefoot frog here. There's nothing here. Yes, there is. No, there's not. Yes, there is. And this is the nonsense that's going on. And it delays a project for 6 to 7 months, $1 million wasted, no interest, no nothing. It's money lost. And it's 50-50. Remember, court is always 50-50. It might go through or it might not. We don't know. So it delayed the project for 6 to 7 months. And then finally, and this is the sad part of it, the guy settles. Oh, yeah, give me X amount of dollars, 100, 200,000, whatever it is to erase my memory that the spadefoot frog is not there. Please erase my memory. And that 200,000 did a very good job, or whatever it was, to erase his memory. So after all has been said and done and you're moving forward, you still have that glitch. And I think that's what's delayed the 21,000 project up the 126. I think it was the Stecklefoot frog.
I remember that was Bouquet. I remember, but I would not be surprised at all to hear they're dealing with the same issues over there.
They found some endangered unicorn or something.
We got a lot of them out here. A lot of endangered species out here, I guess. I've never seen before or heard of.
Oh, here's something also we haven't talked about. This will really delay your project. What if they dig? Say now they're moving forward and they're starting to build, right? They're grading, they're digging up, and they find an Indian burial grave.
Does that happen out here?
It has happened. It actually it hasn't happened out here, but it did happen. I think it happened on my project. I think it did. I'm not sure, but I know it happened over in L.A. next to Dodger Stadium. There's a park that they built real nice, and they found an Indian burial ground, and that delayed that project for years. You have to pull up the bones, etc., whatever they do to it, move it some other place. So bring the tribal people down, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that happens. So, let's hope if they start building those 21,000 homes, nothing like that appears. But that's another delay in the project, and it just, this is money lost. And let's say, like I said, it's 50-50. If the lawsuit, they prevail and say, they come up with that spadefoot frog, then that $1 million is gone, and then, or more. Oh, we haven't even talked about the litigation costs. Maybe $50,000, $60,000 in fees.
Is there any recourse to get any of that back after the end of it? Or if you settle, is it just saying, hey, you guys settled, so clearly there was? No.
Remember, if it was a contract, then there is some recourse, and what that means is, if you have a contract and there's a clause in there that says that the prevailing party has a right to attorney's fees, then absolutely. So me and you have a contract and you sue me and I win, you're responsible for my fees, and vice versa. But it's in the contract. This is no contract, so I just want to sue because I want to sue because I think there's a spadefoot frog there. There is no recourse. I can't come after you because we have no agreement to settle on.
And do you need any? I mean, did this gentleman have any legal reason why he should be responsible for the safety of these spadefoot frogs, or just, hey, I know they're there, so I'm going to step up?
No, it's his pocket. It's his pocketbook at the end of the day is what it is. I hate to give it to you straight, but I consider myself a straight talker, and that's what it is. I mean, he just wants his pocket. I can come out and say it. I can go right now to Needham Ranch. Well, I don't know. I think the EIR time is over, but I can go to any of these new projects they're developing in town and say, you know what? My ancestors were buried here, and I know they're here. And I'm going to sue because you can't. This is sacred ground of a certain tribe or whatever, you name it, etc. And I'm going to sue you because you're developing here. You're infringing on this sacred land. And I take it to court, and we can go through 6-7 months of litigation and all that. And then the developer's like, hey, I need to build. I'm losing money. I can't stop the bleed. I'm getting And by the way, attorney's fees are going to be at least $500 an hour, So I'm burning through money, and then here comes a negotiation. Hey, look, we'll give you $100,000, go away, $200,000, go away, whatever. And then, they make that offer, and automatically my mind is erased, like in, Men in Black. They get the little thing out, they flash my eyes. Oh, I forgot about the frogs. but all of a sudden I have a suitcase of money next to me. I'm good. That's what happens. So, yeah, that's the reality, and that's what we live in. So I hope we had I was able to shed the light on development for people. And if you're looking into real estate, it is a great profession. There's money to be made out there. It's a great business. And I hope you learned something today for everybody out there. Once again, this is Jesus Henao. This is the Commercial Hour, Loyola Commercial, and we'll see you here next week.